Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this magnificent Monday for another YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about Cardano, and we're going to be bringing a pretty big announcement to you. This was news that was actually released a couple of days ago, but is a big deal, and I haven't really seen it get to the forefront of news coming out for Cardano, and that is to do with Anita BTC, which is wrapped BTC on Cardano, and of course Ergo, which is a proof of stake chain. I'm not sure we've covered Ergo, but it's a pretty interesting project. We're excited to announce we've successfully minted CBTC on Cardano. So what is CBTC? We're going to be exploring that. I'm going to do a few things in this video. So we're going to be bringing to you this announcement, of course, and that's going to be really the start of the video, and how this works and potentially why this is a big deal. You know, it's certainly going to lead to TVL coming to Cardano. But the real question is there going to be much of a demand for Bitcoin on Cardano? Now, they have a comparison here with looking at wrapped Bitcoin for Ethereum, and this essentially just is wrapped Bitcoin. But the difference between this and what happened with Ethereum, when Ethereum, I was about for DeFi, you know, I took part in DeFi as it came about. Is there going to be the same demand for something like wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, which allowed you to use Bitcoin in smart contracts for the first time ever? Whereas, you know, that isn't potentially the landscape that we're currently in. But we will talk about all that. We'll look at the TVL for Cardano, because we actually just reached a new all-time high in regards to the amount of Cardano staked. Of course, the amount of total value locked within the Cardano ecosystem is still down, but of course we are still in a very sort of negative market. And I do believe it will go back above and beyond all-time highs. It's a matter of, for me, really when, not if. I am going to give a little bit of a sort of my concerns a little bit. And you guys know I'm a massive fan of Cardano. I've been making content on it for nearly 2 years now, or over 2 years now. But there does seem to be a lack of volume with Cardano. Certainly when you compare it to other ecosystems, given that it's seventh in terms of market cap. Now, there's a number of reasons this could be. We'll talk about it. We'll then look at a quick AI prediction for Cardano by the end of 2023. See if there's any suggestions to it. And then we're going to look at the price. You guys know that we do have structure in play, but that structure is currently being tested. Now, this is an unchanged draw from my last video, and we're going to keep it that way so that we don't tamper with it. You want to verify that, please go and watch my last Cardano price update. We've been tracking this right chart, and we're tracking this broadly across the ball. We know we're in what can only be described as a very tricky macro environment. However, you know, we did take a position back in the cryptocurrency market at the start of the year. We've done very well from that. If you want to find out what I'm doing in terms of buys, what I'm buying, where I'm buying, there's a link in the description to my Patreon, or of course, stay tuned for the preview updates. But we'll dive into the price and talk about things. And it's a little bit concerning just how far it's come back. But I think if the market turns around, it's going to do very well. And I'm still very much set on the idea that ADA is going back above, or is back on the road at least to $1. So let's start things off with the big announcement now that I've rambled on for 3 minutes. It is, of course, the fact that you now have essentially wrapped Bitcoin on top of Cardano. Now, Bitcoin literally has the largest pool of liquidity or largest market cap out of them all, you know, with a whopping $434 billion, nearly $500 billion in terms of market cap. So it's a massive amount. If people decide that there's a reason for them to use Bitcoin on Cardano, you could see an absolutely huge pool of liquidity. And this is going to kind of filter into maybe my concerns with just how we haven't quite seen the demand for Cardano's DeFi space that we have for other chains. It's not a criticism, it's the truth. Okay, I'm not here to please people. These are my genuine thoughts, and that's that. And maybe there's something that I'm missing here. I know that Cardano's DeFi space is very new to the table. I know that it's not been built out yet. I know that there's still many projects to roll out, and I do believe the TVL will increase with that. But let's take Jed, for example. The amount of hype, and rightfully so, that was behind it, I have to say, and there could be a reason for this, that when I look at the TVL that it's attracted, it's disappointing given what I thought it would do. And it's amazing that we've got an algorithmic stablecoin. Maybe there's a lack of TVL in terms of our dollar amount in Cardano because we don't have things like USDC or other stablecoins. We do, and we did interview Anzum, which are coming up with USDA. Very excited for that, and we'll see how that kind of plans out. But yeah, I'm a little bit kind of, I think this is an amazing announcement. I think, again, if you look at how this kind of works, you essentially users add ADA address to the BTC TX MetaMask, BTC MetaMask deposit transaction, then goes to the Bitcoin vault, confirmed Bitcoin transaction, Cardano vault, and then gets sent onto the Cardano chain. So this is doing this for a bridge. And you're essentially wrapping up your Bitcoin, taking it from Bitcoin and converting it into Cardano, where you can do things like farm with it and all these other weird and wonderful things. And I think, again, when Ethereum first came out with their wrapped BTC, it was huge because really all you could do was hold Bitcoin, right? Whereas when you had it on Ethereum, you could lend it out, you could, borrow it, you could do all sorts of things with it, you could swap it, you could buy liquidity with it, you could farm with it. And that's why it did so well, and I think is going to continue to do quite well, and there's a need for it on other chains. Will Cardano gain the same kind of traction? Well, we'll see. I'm very optimistic. I think your DEXs will get a nice little bump up in regards to the pairs that they get against it. It could even become collateral on certain lending and borrowing protocols. And there was I know Liquid recently launched, and I will do a video on these, but they don't have as many products currently launched as I think they were supposed to. However, I think that's my fault for not properly looking at the roadmap. And they've done quite well in terms of their positioning in regards to when all these projects and these kind of yield farming strategies will be coming out. So this is huge news. I believe we're going to see many, many more wrapped tokens on top of Cardano, and this should all contribute to the TVL locked. And again, happy days, guys. We've just reached a new milestone, a new all-time high in the amount of Cardano locked, which is brilliant. We still have a very active Cardano's staking consensus model is probably the best out there. You have all these other protocols that are trying to do a similar thing with locked, liquid staking and stuff like that. Well, Cardano essentially, it has that almost built in, and there's a million and one reasons why the Cardano protocol is interesting and could potentially do well. We haven't seen any, and I was looking to see if there was any sort of CBTC pools yet. Not that I'm aware of. I've not checked Wing Riders, and surely leave me a comment if I'm potentially wrong. But I'm going to say this, and I'm being genuine when I say this, that I am somewhat disappointed with the kind of, and I know we're in a bear market. I know, we're kind of haven't rushed DeFi and are trying to do things right. But if I'm being bluntly honest, I am somewhat disappointed with the kind of traction that I've seen the Cardano DeFi space gain. I don't think that's a criticism. I think that's a fair comment to make. I think certainly Jed, for example, I don't know. I mean, there was quite a few people that were maybe looking at Jed that actually probably had 10 million themselves to put into it, or a tenth of that, or whatever it is, or a fifth, or a 20th, or whatever it is. And it just hasn't seemed to gain as much traction as I potentially thought it would. Now, maybe this is just totally because we're in a bear market and it will come back in floods. And I really do hope so. And I think actually as we see more reasons for people to use Cardano's DeFi, which is probably the main reason why it's been somewhat lackluster at the moment, is because it's still being built out. And when it does get built out and there's reasons for people to farm and use DeFi, there has to be incentives with this sort of stuff. And there are, but when there's more of them and they're more known about, which is probably what we're going to try and do in this channel, is really educate people about the Cardano DeFi space to help bring people to it and grow its TVL, then maybe it will take off. But I have to admit, my overall opinion, if I'm being bluntly honest with everybody, is it's a little bit lackluster, the kind of DeFi space at the moment in terms of the TVL. There's some great things going on. You guys know we're a fan of Wing Riders, MinSwap, ADA Finance, Liquid, Lending Pond are doing really cool things with NFTs. You've got all these weird and wonderful, weird and wonderful is not the right word, but you've got all these great projects deploying on ADA. I just, again, can't help but feel like it's lacking somewhat in terms of TVL, but we are in a bear market. You know, and I think to put that into some kind of perspective, you know, I'm not hating on it. You know, Cardano is 7th in terms of market cap, yet, you know, I mean, probably very, very far down in terms of where it sits. You know, you've got Ethereum with 28 billion. You've got Tron with 4.9. I have no idea how that's even the case. You've got Binance Smart Chain with 4.9. You know, Phantom, Avalanche, Optimism, of course, Polygon, Arbitrage. Let's try and find Cardano. Yeah, Cardano's 24th. So it's not doing too badly, actually. But you have, yeah, interesting. That's enough on that. That's essentially what I mean by I think it's been lackluster. But remember, it's still very early days. Many of these other spaces have had DeFi for considerably longer than ADA has, and we have reached a new all-time high in terms of the amount of Cardano stakes. And I think when the price adjusts on that, then it's likely to do very, very well. So this was certainly interesting. We'll look at this before we talk about the price, just to throw something interesting in there. This AI intelligence, so it's called Coin Codex Machine Self-Learning Technology, is among the entities used to determine the possible ADA valuations. According to data obtained by the tool on the 3rd of March, ADA will likely trade at 49 cents on December the 31st. We will see. For anybody interested in an AI prediction. Let's get into it, guys. This is what we've been tracking for the price. I have to admit, this is sold off, but it's been in accordance with the market. You've got to remember with altcoins, look towards Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin in the macro is going to not have a great time, you're going to be affected by it. And whatever pattern you have may go out the window. But this, for me, is still in the realms of a right shoulder. Because you haven't actually had a definitive lower close. You know, you've not actually closed below. Your price has traded down there. Remember, these are quite small volume markets, certainly Cardano. So you're going to kind of expect a little bit more skittishness. The real question for me is, do you now keep going? You know, you've run into your 0.5, your halfway mark. Are you going to, and if you took this, then we'd be looking for a retest of this, your 0.382. So for me personally, if I'm being 100% honest with everybody, I'll be buying on the way down here until I get invalidated. Because I do think there's a very good chance. Remember, guys, we do daily Bitcoin technical analysis where we're looking at all of this stuff. And Cardano, of course, is very much part of that. And this is very much been expected. This has just sold off a little bit more than I liked it to. We'll see if it turns around. We know where we're wrong. Ultimately, I wouldn't want to see the 0.382 RAM. But it could still turn around within this. So you could do something like this and then look for that upside. Once you take this, guys, you're well and truly back on the road to $1. I think your target or one of your targets is just shy of 70 cents, right about here. And then it'll be a very short period of time before you're back into the sort of $1 range. So we're watching this. It's just a case of watching, waiting, observing. We'll see if this turnarounds and how this kind of forms. You're going to want a bit of a rounding here or something sharp. But that's largely going to depend. Remember, you've got the Fed speaking tomorrow. You've got a number of things going on in the macro. You need to watch the dollar and all these other things. And if you want to find out more about that, please stay tuned to my daily cryptocurrency market updates. I believe that is all I have for you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, major announcement with Bitcoin now coming to Cardano. I think a fair comment that I made on Cardano's DeFi. But very, very much excited for what the future is going to bring for Cardano. It's DeFi space, and I really do see it gaining traction eventually. I just think right now it's been somewhat lackluster. All I've got for you in this video, guys. You enjoyed the content, like, appreciate those comment, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gents.